Hey, what's up pups, it's JR, and this week I'm bringing you my top 10 favorite Warframes. I already made a video about my favorite melees, so if you haven't seen that, feel free to click the card in the upper right that just showed up to go watch it. But much like that video, the first 5 Warframes are just Warframes I like and are in no particular order. But the top 5 are going to be in descending order of my love for each Warframe, 5 being my 5th favorite, 1 being my most favorite. Always keep in mind that this video is entirely my opinion, so if you have a problem with one or more of these choices, you might want to get your priorities straight. I'm also not going to bother differentiating between primes and non-primes because they're still the same Warframe, just with different stats and polarities. Without further ado, let's get into this. Number 10 is going to be Excalibur. For those of you who don't know, Excalibur was actually my starting Warframe, and the reason for that was that my brother picked Mag and our friend Tanner picked Loki, back when Loki was available as a starting Warframe. So needless to say, Excalibur was my main frame for quite a while, even though back in the day he wasn't nearly as effective as he is now. Speaking of, his new and improved kit is rather entertaining to use and his Exalted Blade is extremely effective. However, I don't play him very much anymore because I played him so much back in the day, and the Excalibur I have now is not my original. So he's not formed very much, making him less viable than other Warframes that I've actually put time into upgrading, which is why he's only here at number 10. Number 9 is Atlas. Now I'm going to be honest, I wasn't too hyped about Atlas being released back in the day because I'm not usually the kind of person to go with slow moving immovable objects for the character I play, but when I got him, that all changed. He is still super slow, but the fact that he is so fun to use kind of overwrites that. Something about his abilities just makes him so satisfying to use. Maybe it's the sound of rocks smacking together and rolling around, or maybe it's the fact that you can feel the power behind each of Atlas's actions. All I know is that Landslide is one of the funnest abilities in the game. Coming in at number 8 is Banshee. Fun fact, Banshee was actually the first Warframe I set my sights on to get. I saw her in the Codex and thought the concept of using sound as a weapon was really cool. When I did end up getting her, she wasn't very viable other than using sonar, so it was kind of a lackluster experience, but I still had a lot of fun with her. But much later, she got buffed and now people only use her for sound quick. I would have put Banshee higher up on the list, but in her current state, she's still not very fun to use, seeing as how her main ability roots you in place while it's being used. But with my past experiences with Banshee, and with how good Banshee Prime looks, I simply could not leave her out of this list. Number 7 is going to be Ember. I'm sure you all know her well. I'm going to preface this segment by saying that I may be anti-meta for Warframe, but that doesn't mean I can't like meta Warframes. Anyway, I'll just come out and say it. Ember Prime is one of the best looking Warframes in the game, and it was only made better with her deluxe skin. Minus the helmet, ugh. To add to that, she's also one of the strongest caster Warframes, especially with her Augment Flash Accelerant, which adds bonus heat damage to all of her and her allies' attacks. This, coupled with the fact that enemies affected by Accelerant take more damage from heat damage, makes for some deadly combinations and really high numbers. Here at number 6, we have everyone's favorite snow globe manufacturer, Frost. I didn't like Frost much before they reworked him, but now he's much more fun to play, and he actually has a use other than snow globe. If you watched the Built to Destroy I made on him, you know I built him focusing on Avalanche, which I have in no way regretted. It does enough damage to have the potential to wipe rooms, and at excessive high levels, it's still viable because it not only freezes people in their tracks, but also almost completely removes their armor, leaving Grineer units open for the kill. Oh yeah, he also looks fucking dope. Breaking into the top 5, and thus my true favorite Warframes, we have Saren. If you looked at my profile on Warframe, you'll immediately see that Saren was at one point my favorite Warframe. But since then, I've kinda cooled down on her and I've moved to other Warframes. But that doesn't change the fact that I still love her. Most people don't like the way Saren Prime looks, but I very much prefer it over her default look. Although, Tenogen skins though. Either way, I'm currently in the process of revisiting Saren and seeing if I can make her a bit more than a viral proc monster the way I had her before. So who knows? This placement might end up changing. But right now, Saren is my 5th favorite Warframe. And at number 4, we have what people would consider the opposite of Saren, for no particular reason, Nova. Nova is, in my opinion, one of the best looking Warframes, and that was only emphasized with all of her amazing Tenogen skins. But this list isn't purely based off of looks. Ignoring her one, which is pretty much useless, Nova's abilities are not only super fun, but also super effective as well. I'm sure the majority of you have seen the clip I used for the Atom Splitter and more types of players in Warframe. The fact that you have the ability to nuke so many enemies at once with her 4 is super awesome, but it's even better when used in conjunction with her 2 Antimatter Drop. Cast Molecular Prime, unload on Antimatter Drop, and proceed to kill literally everyone. Nova is just all around great. Hashtag flat as justice. Number 3 is going to be Mesa. I was super excited for Mesa when she was first coming out, and I fell in love when she finally dropped. However, I haven't put much time into her, but every time I end up playing her again, I think to myself, why the hell did I stop playing Mesa? I think it's most likely because the anti-meta part of me is trying to pull me away from her. Meta or not, I love Mesa. She looks awesome, and her abilities are obviously super effective, while being fun to use. Oh yeah, and her new deluxe skin is really cool as well. Now I can cosplay my Mesa as Captain Amelia from Treasure Planet, aka the best Disney movie ever, which is pretty neat. Coming in at number 2 is Valkyr. What can be said about Valkyr that hasn't already been said? She's one of the most tanky Warframes in the game, she looks amazing defaultly, and so does her Prime. She has some of the best cosmetics, both Tenogen, Deluxe, and Default, and she's a blast to play. I have almost no complaints about Valkyr, so this segment is going to be rather short because if I list off everything I like about her, we'd be here all day. And finally, number 1, which I'm pretty sure you all know, so here she is. My girl, Zephyr. And yes, girl. To this day, I still get comments saying, Zephyr's a dude, lol. Kindly spend 2 minutes looking at her description and you'll see. Besides, I've been playing this game for 4 years. I don't need you correcting me on the thing I most likely know the most about in the entirety of Warframe. Anyway, Zephyr is by far my favorite Warframe in the game. Yes, she is rather underwhelming to play, but she looks so good and is so fun to play, I can't help but love her. Much like Valkyr, I love pretty much every aspect about Zephyr, other than the obvious things like her abilities not being very viable. But unlike Valkyr, I'll go a bit more in depth about what I love the most. Whether it be in video games, books, or any other sort of medium, my favorite things in fantasy are wind elementals. I don't know what it is, I just think the idea of bending something as common as fucking wind is super cool. Most likely because wind can go from a nice calm breeze to a devastating hurricane, or in Zephyr's case tornado, in a matter of minutes. Oddly enough, I didn't actually like Avatar: The Last Airbender very much though. Huh. Another thing I actually like about Zephyr is the fact that her, female aspects aren't immediately noticeable. I feel like this helps focus on the fact that Zephyr is actually a really cool Warframe, both visually and conceptually. I don't know why, but it gives off this feeling that Zephyr takes herself more seriously than other female Warframes. For some odd reason, I seem to be referencing this show a lot recently in my videos, but in a way, Zephyr makes me think if she actually had, a personality, and wasn't just essentially a remote control suit of armor, I would imagine she would have a personality a lot like Crush? I imagine that Zephyr would have a personality a lot like Captain Crunch from ReZero, serious and rightfully confident in her own abilities, which is a refreshing take on female characters in anything really, as opposed to them usually being helpless damsels, sex symbols, or fucking insane in one way or another. What were we talking about? Alright, Zephyr. I feel like I've praised her enough for one video, so I'll end off by saying something I can't say enough. I love Zephyr. Oh yeah, if DE skips Zephyr Prime again, I am going to be quitting Warframe. I don't think they will in the end, but just prepare yourselves because there might be a lot of new episodes of Immersion and other series in the future. My channel may have gained traction due to Warframe, but I hope you all understand if I ever end up quitting it. Anyway, that's going to wrap up my top 10 favorite Warframes. If you enjoyed this video, consider dropping a like, and make sure to hit that subscribe button to become a pup if you haven't already. Also, if you want to support me and the channel, consider becoming a patron for as little as $1 a month. My name's JR, and I'll see you guys in the next one.